Sean, have you watched any big movies this weekend? Anything that is worthy of discussion tonight?
Man, oh man, I don't want to spoil it right now, but full disclosure, I watched Swan Song.
I knew that was the one you were going to bring up. Obviously, the biggest release of the weekend.
Definitely.
Can't believe they brought those other two back. We
The
will
two
talk
Mahershala.
the two Mahershala's, the Mahershala cinematic universe, the Mahershalaverse. We will be talking Spider-Man No Way Home, as well as Nightmare Alley, a bunch of other stuff we've been watching, diving into new trailers, including The Northmen, and a bunch of movie news tonight on the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean.
Change the game just now. I have a rave.
These are the best ideas I've ever heard.
I'm saying that's the commentary that will exist.
A Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Defiled Mickey Mouse.
Oh my god!
Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe. He is Sean, and this is episode 76. Woo! Every week, it's another week, another higher number. And every week, I'm like, oh my God, 75. Oh my God, 76.
That is true, Joe. Every week, it's another week more.
Listen, nothing is guaranteed in the world that we live in right now.
That's true.
Sean, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm exhausted, crawling to that finish line known as Christmas break, and very soon, very shortly, just going to be able to enjoy some time off or stress about traveling. We'll see which one it ends up being.
I bet I know which one. Is tomorrow your obviously tomorrow your last day of work, or is
no Thursday I'm going in, but tomorrow's the last day of full classes, and then Thursday they do the half day. They really should, especially with what's going on now, just cancel that half day.
Yeah.
No one does anything, so please let's get one day sooner. Get out of here quick.
More power to you. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're making you come in for a full day on the Hawkeye finale day, on the date that Matrix Resurrections gets released, the Kingsman hits theaters. You had things to do.
Being the Ricardos
hit today, actually, on Amazon Prime Video.
Which that was kind of a bit of a surprise, and that annoyed me. This morning I looked up Being the Ricardos is on here. I'm like, are you kidding me? Come on.
So for those of you watching live, make sure to check Sean's Instagram a little bit later when it says what the math teacher watched today. You'll see Being the Ricardos on there at 9:15.
No, it's fantastic because my lovely wife likes to watch movies with me, and she wants to watch that one, and she loves togetherness, and I do too. I do too.
Says the newly married man.
Exactly.
I love togetherness. Well, if you will allow me, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second here, real quick. Just want to share with everyone for full transparency, because we have been pushing about masks and vaccines and all that. I oddly tested positive for COVID last week and was very surprised by that. Did not expect it because I am extremely cautious, extremely annoying with my mask wearing. Avoid large crowds. I go to theaters a lot for press screenings and stuff, but there's 20 of us in a theater that holds 150 to 200. So, I'm cautious. But, when you see things about the Omicron variant and all that spreading, it is not a joke. It is definitely spreading. Just recently, I've learned of someone that I know, someone I'm close to, who had a family member pass away, as well as a good friend of mine who just tested positive randomly the other day. So things are really ramping up. It's kind of crazy. So all that to say, yes, I am vaccinated. Make sure that you are vaccinated. Make sure you're still taking precautions, especially as we're getting into these winter months, because it is getting a little crazy again. And if you know someone who's on the fence about vaccination, have them talk to their doctors and get that medical advice. It was really weird. I got to tell you, though, I took one of those at-home tests, which was really odd. I was swabbing myself and crying because I don't like things in my nose. So,
I'm gonna have to take one of those. I'm gonna have to take one of those because we have a bunch of them. We're just waiting for before we meet with the family, and I'm already just I'm grimacing.
Yeah, I was I think I maybe went a little too deep, but so we'll see how that works tonight if I can recall anything. But we, as soon as I went to put the drop on the sample spot, both lines lit up, which is positive, and I was like, they said it takes 15 minutes, so like one of them could disappear, right? It didn't. It got stronger. And then I got tested for realsies the next day, and I was positive. So, hey, quarantining is fine for a movie buff who has a bunch of movies to watch, because I have watched a lot. But at the same time, you go crazy. So just, to keep everyone safe, especially as the holidays are coming, take precautions, think through your plans, and thank you for allowing me on my soapbox.
I'm even just going to add to that just a little bit more, for the get vaccinated statement there, you're very, very, I mean, not lucky, you were going to do it anyway, and you did do it at the right time, but you're very lucky you're vaccinated, because I think that's what's, saving you. Like, you're not in danger. You're not. You are sick. You now feel fine. You are now quarantining. I mean, I'm speaking for you, by the way. But
Whoopi Goldberg did show up the other day and say, "You in danger, girl."
A ghost reference we're doing. But like, all of the friends I have, like, because there's a lot of them now that are, testing positive for COVID that haven't before. And it's because this Omicron is spreading a lot faster. But all of them are also vaccinated, and they're ending up okay. Now, that doesn't mean you are completely okay if you're vaccinated. Go and do everything reckless possible. That does not mean doing that. But it does mean that, like, it is saving those people. So please, if you are, on the fence there, please get vaccinated. And that is for you. I mean, we like to say that, like, be selfless and do it for others, but now also genuinely for you in this case, because a lot of people are getting this, and it's the tolls are going up again. The death tolls are going up again. So please make this happen so we can just get through this thing. Hopefully this is just this spike that is just going to, oh my goodness, go away by at least February, please. Like, and just, maybe sooner, but please be safe out there. Please get vaccinated and mask and all the other, things that by now.
Absolutely. And get boosted too. That's one thing that I did get vaccinated very early, but I did drag my feet on the booster a little bit because I haven't been around. I work for a healthcare system, and I haven't been around to get it at the healthcare system. Kicking myself in the ass a little bit because I was going to, honestly, this week, and tested positive last week. So things are great. The world has a funny way of working. But enough about that. It has been a big week for movies. Everyone that was nerding out about Spider-Man No Way Home has a lot of positive things to talk about, and I think we do as well. But
we do.
Of course, we want to watch some trailers. We threw 2 on here today because there's 2 that I think are pretty entertaining for different reasons that I want to make sure that we have a moment to look at. So why don't we get started with The Lost City, starring Channing Tatum, Sandra Bullock, and Daniel Radcliffe. This is the oddest inclusion ever, by the way. And we're off.
2, 1.
Here's a trailer for the Lost City.
Here's a trailer. It's gonna be You led me straight to the Lost City. Now, prepare to die.
There were just hundreds of snakes in this temple just waiting for us to show up.
What? Why aren't they biting that guy?
This is ridiculous. Delete. Delete. Delete.
Listen, Loretta, we need you to promote your new book on the Lost City. You can't spend your life in the bathtub drinking Chardonnay with eyes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world's sexiest cover model, Dash McMahon!
You do know you're not Dash, right? Dash is a character I made up. Dash! Oh my god. Oh crap.
Miss Sage, I enjoyed your book about the Lost City, and I believe you're the one who can help me find its treasure.
I have to respectfully decline.
I'm afraid I must insist.
Unchain me!
That's a seatbelt.
Loretta Sage is missing.
I'm gonna rescue her. I just want her to think of me as more than a cover model.
Let's start living dangerously.
Alan, what are you doing here?
We're here to save you. I'm certified CPR, I'm certified CrossFit. I have snacks.
After them!
This is like your book. We're on a Lovemore and Dash adventure right now. I'm gonna help you out a little bit. Let's go.
What are you doing? Don't do that. Oh god, get out of there. This is not a romance novel. Jungles eat people like us.
Ah, what is Get it off.
Please.
I can feel him sucking my soul. River like a bandit. Don't make that sound. Feels like there's more.
Holy mother of God.
They're just sucking on my butt like a big old Jamba Juice.
We're so close. I could actually find the lost city.
If I don't get to this island, my friend and her cover models are going to die.
I am driving.
Oh.
Oh, it's
Loretta Sage, get you out of here.
Why are you so handsome?
My dad was a weatherman.
Hey, whoa, she doesn't need saving in there.
Okay.
What are you doing in there?
Go.
I guess I have things to say. We've seen this before, but like it still works. I mean, it's the it's an author that makes up their own adventure, and the adventure comes to life. There's a little bit of like Three Amigos in here. There's a little bit of Tropic Thunder in here, but those do work really well. I think this is cast really well, including like you said, the weirdest casting of Daniel Radcliffe. That works. Yeah. I mean, like it's just like it's off, and it's needed to be off, and it does seem like they sideline him for a large portion of this. I'm assuming at this point, but I think they're like playing into his sort of like he's now like a billionaire that's a little bit weird looking instead of the young Harry Potter chap that he was.
Yeah, this has been on my radar for a little bit, only because I love Sandra Bullock in comedies. I mean, Miss Congeniality with her is brilliant. She's fantastic. And then thinking about, I love Channing Tatum as well. I think he's just a goofy dude, and he's good looking, and he's fun, and those two together just that has cracked me up from the beginning, the casting of that of them. But it just looks like fun, and I think we're going to talk about a movie, maybe a couple, well, one, two, maybe tonight, that are just pure fun, and like that's the type of movie that I think we need every once in a while. And this looks like it's going to be one of those kooky, crazy, fun movies, and I'm all for it. I love that stuff.
There's something you could tell about this one through the release date, where we talk about the winter graveyard, but even though sometimes there's a like good movie in the winter, I'm right now just thinking of the 355. That's the winter graveyard right there. Yikes on yikes. But March is something where this could actually be. They have some confidence in this. Yeah. They actually can think that there will be butts in seats if seats exist, and I think that. I really love like that they're like the studios are putting a little bit of a hope in this one, and they say, all right, this one could actually maybe make some dough. We're not just dumping this thing. It could be a lot of fun. I agree with you with Channing Tatum, because there's a little bit of a degree of comedy with Channing Tatum where I think he's gone too far at times, where now he's going to bring this back to 21 Jump Street, which is exactly where we need this guy. Yeah. And it's like not just dumb, but like fun dumb, adorable dumb, charming dumb, which it works without a doubt.
I'm surprised they didn't release this or set it for release Valentine's Day weekend or around there, because I feel like that could have been a solid Valentine's Day outing. Maybe COVID stuff played into it. Maybe it didn't, but that just makes sense to me.
That would be interesting.
One thing to think about, and here's a dumb question. The working title for this was The Lost City of D. Why do you think they dropped of D?
I noticed that was the title of the book, and I was like, and I wondered, that would make it, first of all, it would make it pretty funny, but it would also just like be crude enough that like maybe they'd lose this is like focus groups. Like the 40 to 60 year old audience would like, Lost City of D, like absolutely not. And they like, which I love the idea that and they actually might get that audience now, because that's the audience that loves Romancing the Stone. And this, like I mentioned a few movies, this movie is also Romancing the Stone.
Good point. It's funny, when it released or when the trailer came out and I saw it was titled The Lost City, I was like, oh, interesting. I thought the same thing. What focus groups got to you? Let's switch gears and go the complete opposite with releases that are coming out next year. The Northmen. Have you heard of this?
Oh man, I'm just launch it, because I'm going to just go nuts.
And I know we both watched this already, but it's worth watching again. So here we go. The Northman, Robert Eggers' next one.
Now, we hold.
He's here. He's here. Mother! Father is here! The king, milady. The king.
Your fate is set and you cannot escape it.
Willem Dafoe doing Willem Dafoe.
Oh, I love it.
I missed you, my son. One day this kingdom will be yours.
Thank you, Father. My king. Father!
For whom you shed your last teardrop.
Is that Bjork?
Remember, that's Bjork. remember.
I will avenge you, Father! I will save you, Mother! I will kill you, Fiona!
I will avenge you, Father. I will save you, Mother. I will kill you, Fiona.
Why would he stow away to such a hellish place?
To find what was stolen from me.
And what is that?
The kingdom.
You must choose between kindness for your kin or hate for your enemies.
Your strength breaks men's bones. I have the cunning to break their minds.
And night by night, we will carry out my pledge of vengeance.
I will avenge you, Father.
I will avenge you, Father.
Sean, you're freaking out.
I can't handle this, man.
I will kill you, Fiona.
Who is Ethan Hawke in this?
He was the king that got killed. His dad.
Oh.
Yeah. I recognized his voice. He was just like the gentle, like, you know, just, oh my God. So
tell us why you're so excited.
Okay, so yeah, I should say, first of all, you know, big Robert Eggers fan. He's 2-0 for me, which is not a large sample size, but you know, he's undefeated. He's undefeated right now. He has directed The Witch, but technically The Vavitch, because of the two V's, and then also The Lighthouse. Now, you know, The Witch was one that like wasn't terribly popular because it was so irritatingly accurate, where nobody understood what was going on because you couldn't understand what they were saying. It was a 1600 New England style movie, and we were wondering if Anya Taylor-Joy was a witch or not, or her character was a witch or not.
No, her in real life, she's a witch.
Exactly. Apparently she's playing one here too, like some kind of like, you know, spellbound person. So she has a type. And then The Lighthouse is The Lighthouse. I mean, Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson stuck on a lighthouse, and then just things go straight up insane to a level where you can't even comprehend what happens towards the end, which is something that usually bothers me. But for some reason, it worked in a 3-act structure like well enough that I kind of I got what, like, you know, I walked out of that theater being like, well, that was insane. I don't know exactly what happened, but I sort of understand what happened to, like, you know, the characters in the plot somehow. This movie looks like it's going to be, it's holding accuracies to a extremely well level, like The Witch did. And it's also like going crazy insane, like The Lighthouse did. This looks like a fun, I don't want to say, it's not even Swords and Sandals, but it's a Viking epic. It looks like a very fun Viking epic. It looks like beautiful scenery, really like just well done, dark, like visually dark kind of a way of looking at it, just suspenseful the whole way through. The cast is unbelievable. I can't get over how, also, by the way, with all of that in mind, of it looks like all that, it's a very well constructed trailer. Like, absolutely. It gives you the simplicity of the story, doesn't give away too much, but also styles it really nicely, where I want to watch this trailer again, just the trailer alone, because it's a lot of fun.
It's the first time going into an Eggers movie, and like you said, we don't have a large sample size, but the first time going into an Eggers movie where I know what the movie's about. and that hasn't happened before. Honestly.
No, that's so true. That's so true.
I mean, they laid it out. It's, his father died. His 3 steps, what he wants to do.
Yep. they kept on saying it, which was great. Yeah. Also, Skarsgård, they're letting Skarsgård cook. And we haven't seen that. We've seen him as a supporting character in a lot of stuff. Recently on Succession, Big Little Lies. We've seen him in those situations, but now he is heading up this thing. They're letting him cook, and it's going to be really interesting, especially him catching a spear midair, flipping it, and throwing it back there. Which I've watched that clip about 1 million times.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm very excited for it. It's interesting that Eggers is already starting to do that thing with casting where he only has 2 movies, small cast, and he's already double dipping with Anya Taylor-Joy coming back with Willem Dafoe. It's kind of cool. I like when they do that because it shows confidence in your storytellers. Well, yeah. your storyteller, yeah. I mean, they're both storytellers too. Yeah. So, all right. This is a fair warning for everyone listening. We are diving into Spider-Man No Way Home spoiler territory. You have 5 minutes to skip ahead. Or you skip ahead 5 minutes if you don't want to discuss. Sean, I'm limiting us to 5 minutes on this.
We really have to be lit. So right now we're at this time. Okay, so I'll watch the clock, make sure.
Already on it.
Skip ahead 5 minutes, everybody, if you don't want spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. All right. Spider-Man No Way Home. How'd you like it, Joe?
So listen, Sean, you and I were very critical of Spider-Man No Way Home leading up to it because we were very, very nervous that it wasn't going to be able to deliver on everything that it said it was going to deliver on, or that people had thought it was going to deliver on. And that it would buckle under its own weight. I think I texted you like "holy shit" or something afterwards, and your response was "don't do this."
I said "hush." I didn't want to know.
I loved it, honestly. And the more I sit with it, the more I enjoy it even more. And of course, the more I see clips on TikTok and stuff of some big parts, I just absolutely love it. I think it was structured really well. It kept the innocence of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the first half, even in the second half for a lot of it too. But also finally did what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to push him to stand on his own 2 feet and not always rely on, other people, Iron Man or whatnot. Like he was driving the ship. He was leading the 3 Spider-Men at the end. And of course we got Tobey Maguire back. We got Andrew Garfield back. I thought they did a great job with both of those characters, reaching back to some common or some nostalgic points with them, but also in terms of Andrew Garfield, giving him some closure in a sense. And I'm going to bring that up later about the closure piece, but they gave him a good ending. The part that I love the most, and the scene that actually still kind of gives me chills when I see it on TikTok and stuff, is the scene where MJ is falling, where Zendaya is falling, and Tom Holland's Peter Parker's going for gets taken out by the glider of Green Goblin, and you just see Andrew Garfield scream no and start running for her and gets her. And at the end, for him to say, "Are you okay?" and then she goes, "Are you okay?" It was so well done. They also brought those characters, Zendaya and oh my gosh, what's his Jacob
Bartlett? Yeah,
something like that. They gave them a lot more screen time to work with. It was really just so well done all around.
The main focus here is this was a crazy movie that opened up several universes where you saw several different comic book villains from different movie franchises. And yet the foundation of this was a teen movie. The foundation of this was trying to get into college or, trying to protect your girlfriend from a situation or keep your friends together. And that was the foundation of this, which is therefore why this movie worked the best it did, is because you saw those characters. You see our Tom Holland Spider-Man as a kid and as someone in a human situation who, starts off, who works every single one of these angles from a human situation. He, wants to try to change the villains because he has that wanting to help instead from a human situation. He wants to do the spell so that his friends can get into MIT, or chase down that, that professor so the friends can get into MIT. His friends can get into MIT. It's a human way of looking at it. What I'm impressed by with these other 2 Spider-Man, with Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they weren't there for fan service. Really, the only true blue fan service there, which was fine fan service for me, was Charlie Cox's Daredevil. I thought that was wonderful. But in this case, they were there to help Tom Holland grow. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were there to help Tom Holland's character grow because he goes through the absolute horrible loss and the unimaginable anger and therefore almost crosses the line and kills the villain. Tobey is able to stop him in that situation through the glider. If we look at this, that is all done on Captain America's giant shield. And there's just these levels of like set pieces that I see in this action that are so well placed and so well done that I'm sort of blown away by how they made this character grow and how they had this character grow towards the end, which was like just truly beautiful. Unbelievable movie, unbelievable action, unbelievable way they handled this character with the utmost care.
And they didn't. I'm watching our time here so that we don't spoil for people. But the one good thing that I really enjoyed was they figured out a way to make it work, bringing back the other two Spider-Men. Like you said, they helped him grow, and that was necessary. It gets him out of the teenage years, so to speak. At the end, you see the GED book, and he's in a new apartment, and we have a new life for Spider-Man coming up, and who knows what the future holds. But I am very, very excited to see what they do to capitalize on the success of Spider-Man No Way Home. Look at that. Look at that timing.
We just absolutely nailed that. Welcome back for non-spoiler people.
Welcome back. All right, let's dive into our next one that we want to talk about, and that is Nightmare Alley. Sean, I think you and I are similar in this. I think if I remember did I see your review? No, maybe I didn't.
Possibly. But I think we both have, like, you have 4 out of 5, I have B, so we're pretty close to it.
Nightmare Alley is a movie that I very much, it was a different experience for me, meaning that it requires patience to get through because it doesn't give you a lot to work with the entire time. There's a lot of great cameos and actors, and the writing is fantastic. The visuals are stunning, but it is kind of, you're not sure where it's going and what exactly is happening until the end. And this is one of those movies where the very last scene kind of, puts a little, cherry on top.
Oh, yeah. Good full circle moment. Yeah.
I literally was like mouth agape, very excited that they did that. I enjoyed it. I thought Bradley Cooper was fantastic. The only two knocks I had on it: one, it was pretty long and could have been shorter, and two, Rooney Mara, she didn't have much to work with, and I was a little upset by that. But
Rooney Mara was unfortunately kind of like an objectified sort of situation there, where it's like, oh, she finally broke free of Bradley Cooper, and it was like, yeah, there wasn't much of a story with her anyway. She was she was literally the assistant of a show, and she was also the assistant in this movie. You didn't really care about her. Nope. We have like these stronger written characters that are coming from Toni Collette and Cate Blanchett, who I thought absolutely stood out in this, where just is amazing as the femme fatale, like really kind of working like certain levels of emotion. I thought Bradley Cooper was very good in this, which people are like now on this like way of saying like, wait, Bradley Cooper's a bad actor. I don't know why people are on that kick, but we forgot that he has a lot of chops that he's exploring here that are great. My real issue is, first of all, the length. This was there were 3 Ps. Like I had to 3P stops for me in this thing, because 2.5 hours is just not right. But
it's just not right.
Just absolutely incorrect. Go back. However, I will say I don't know what you would cut out, and that's where it gets interesting. Is I really like so it is a damn fine film in that way, where it's like, wow, I'm really like 2.5 hours. I would like to leave now, please. But at the same time, I didn't want to leave the theater at any point. To pee my 3 times. So with that issue out of the way, the other problem I have is if you're going to make a mystery suspense, you have to, at one point towards the end, start to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, I understand it's a mystery. So at first you don't know what's going on. That's like the idea of the mystery. But then all of a sudden I found myself saying, okay, wait, what's happening now? Like what's going on here? So I don't have any stakes. I'm not really worried about anything. I'm not invested in anything. So that's where things got to be a bit of a problem for me. But yeah, that was my main issue with it. And it's slowly, I don't know, there's this Guillermo del Toro visualization that I'm getting now where I'd like him to start to get a little bit cheaper again. Where I think his colors are getting saturated. I remember Shape of Water. It was just like, key lime pies don't look like that, dude. And I was like, but I'll forgive it. Now it's getting to the point where I'm like, all right, yeah, come on, like let's turn this back a little bit. Still looks beautiful, but I don't know, the way that looked for me was starting to bug me a little.
I thought production design was phenomenal here. I could see that totally getting nominated. Likely will, to be honest. Yeah, all in all, though, I would say for me, it's one of Guillermo del Toro's best. I actually think I liked it better than Shape of Water. So,
yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, that's a tough call. I'd have to revisit Shape of Water, but they're about the same, I think, for me.
Well, let's dive into some other stuff that we've been watching. I'm going to touch on two quickly, and I know you have a couple. I watched The Lost Daughter this past weekend. This was Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial debut. And this was interesting for me because I was really looking forward to it, and it has a star-studded cast. So Olivia Colman, Dakota Johnson, Ed Harris, Peter Sarsgaard, Oliver Jackson Cohen, the guy from Invisible Man. He was one of those actors where I'm staring at him. I'm like, how do I know him? Thank you, IMDb. It's a good movie. It's not what I expected, and that's never a good thing. It's basically a movie about a middle-aged woman played by Coleman who is vacationing in Greece, and she is I don't even know how to explain it. Basically, she just takes a liking to this young girl or young woman who has a young daughter who's there with like her extended family, and she starts to reflect on her own life and things that happened through this observation. I'm not going to go into it too much more because there's some things in there that were really surprising to me that kind of changed the way the story drives. Beautifully directed. I mean, Maggie Gyllenhaal, like, great job for your first direction. I thought it was well put together. The story just didn't do much for me. The story just seemed a little choppy, and from people I know that have read the book, they kind of felt the same way, that the story was a little like all over the place. So worth it though. Like I said, good direction, solid outing. Olivia Colman is wonderful. I love her so much. I just want to have a beer with her. Like, I feel like she would be such a great person to just have a drink with.
Well, because she always, at every awards show, she goes up there and she's like, "Oh, I'm pissed."
Yeah, essentially. That's why. The other one that I watched was Cyrano. And Cyrano is the Peter Dinklage fronted musical that's coming to Amazon Prime Video, I think at the end of January. It is an interesting movie. The story's been done before. It's essentially a story about a man who is in love with a woman, but the woman is fancying someone else. But the man who loves her ends up helping the man that she likes to get him. So essentially everything that he's saying, the man is saying, it's coming from the guy that adores her. Interesting story. Good music. Didn't really grab me the way that I usually like to be hooked with musicals. Peter Dinklage is really good in it. Ben Mendelsohn's in it. Haley Bennett is phenomenal in it. I love her in this movie. And I keep, Haley Bennett, we don't talk about this movie enough, but there's a movie called Swallow that she was in.
Oh my God. I haven't seen it, but I've heard.
Chilling performance, but just so good. And then Kelvin Harrison Jr. is in this, and he's wonderful as always. I didn't know he could sing, but apparently that's a thing that everyone knew.
Yeah, well, it was that at the height of the pandemic when people were like buying movies that were never going to be seen by theaters, the good old VODs. There was that one with Tracy Ellis Ross called The High Note.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. And I remember I was just like, I already like this guy. He's already extremely handsome. He's already like, a great actor. And then it's just all of a sudden he starts singing. And then I'm like Googling. I'm like, is that really him? And I'm like, damn it. He sings too.
Yeah, he's really good in it. But the thing is, the characters, you don't really grow to love any of them, essentially. Like, I didn't really feel for them. It was kind of just like, oh, okay, good movie. But well done. Joe Wright is the director. That's the name, right? Joe Wright. Yeah. Joe Wright's the director, so it's nice seeing him put a solid film together because he hasn't had the best success in recent years.
He's had some trouble, yeah.
He's had some trouble. But back to Kelvin Harrison Jr. I mean, he is someone who has been in a lot of great things, and it's nice to see him in more of a jovial role. because you think about like Waves, Loose, Monster.
God, he was in Waves.
He was in the Trial of Chicago 7. He's been in a lot of like tough roles, tough things like that. He's also going to be B.B. King in the upcoming Elvis biopic.
What is going on with this Elvis biopic where B.B. King is chilling there and like like what's happening?
I don't know. But definitely a movie to check out. I think Dinklage. I don't know that he's going to make the final cut for Best Actor, but I think that he has a chance of it. Do you think he's going to?
I think he's got it. Yeah, he's he's been whispered about for quite enough time where I think he's nestled a space in there.
Interesting.
It will be like a Dinklage award, kind of like, all right, we've loved Peter Dinklage for a very long time. He hasn't really been in a movie that could earn an award right now, but right now he's in one. It's good enough, or like it's probably pretty solid, probably deserving of it. So like I think he'll get in there. Yeah.
I just think there's better performances that could and should be nominated. And
there always is, yeah.
Overtaken. But okay, you're up.
Oh boy! All right, so first one I watched was Don't Look Up. And you just finished this one, or are you in the middle of watching it?
I just watched it today.
Okay, so I'm going to be curious of what you think, because I did not like it. Although, as you smile and laugh, I also did smile and laugh during it. So it is funny. I will say that. I'll give that much to it. I think satire gets a little bit trickier with this one, is when, it's really tough to balance something this dead serious and this funny, and then also like try to throw the political message into it. The message is clear. The political message is clear. I get it. I'm in on it, and I agree. But I think that there needed to be a little bit more subtlety involved. Yes, sure. A meteor heading down to the earth and, crashing. And it's like, that's a metaphor for, climate change. Or now we could also argue COVID, where people are just denying that like the meteor is there. I'd say the performances in this are top tier excellent. And I want to ask you actually, what is your favorite performance? And let's see if we came up with the same one.
Favorite performance? I don't know. I haven't given it too much thought, because I thought they were all good. The one that made me laugh the most was Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill was solidly. It was good to see Jonah Hill just like do some like pretty solid comedy, like just like playing like basically a Donald Trump Jr. Which like even with the shadow and everything, like it was the 5 o'clock shadow. It was perfect.
I love Meryl Streep in it. I thought she was having a lot of fun.
Oh God, yeah.
But Jennifer Lawrence probably takes it for me.
It was great to see her like sort of play like a cooler hand to the Leonardo DiCaprio character, because I liked DiCaprio's like insane manic energy, but it was nice to have her like kind of like drop that down. But my favorite performance in this, with like by miles for me, is Mark Rylance. Is like kind of to the point where he's terrifying, like truly terrifying. He plays the Bezos, Steve Jobs-esque kind of character where he comes in, he can't really talk to humans at all. He doesn't know how to until like just like one word is triggered, and all of a sudden, boom, he snaps his head and he's actually talking to you. He just talks over people the whole time, like not even in like a rude way, in a way of like he doesn't know other people exist. Like it's just like with like these like dead eyes that still you can tell things are going on behind him. It's such a challenging performance that I could not figure out how he actually was managed to do it.
At the beginning, when he's introducing the new phone and the little girl goes, "Can I say something?" And he just deadpan goes, "No." I kind of lost it. And this movie, so for me, this movie had a lot of those moments, actually. Like there were some really funny lines in it that just had me going. Like I said, Jonah Hill was great. Like at one point he looks at Jennifer Lawrence, goes, "Thanks for dressing up." Like just random stuff like that. It was interesting. I didn't love it. I wanted to love it, but I didn't love it. I did like it. It didn't dive deep into the satire as much as I would expect, but I think that worked for it because it straddled a line that did have some serious moments, and you kind of grabbed onto what it was selling, but it also, and at some point, felt like two different movies in a way. it just didn't. It wasn't as cohesive as I wanted it to be. Now, some positives. Ron Perlman was fucking hilarious when he's shooting at the meteor. I was dying, and he's like, "You're not gonna take me alive."
Oh God! But I love like he's in the rocket, and he's just like, I could use a shot of Jack Daniels. And then the reaction at the control room is like everybody is just like chuckling jovially, like, "Ah, it's America. He's a good old fashioned American."
Yeah, it was so funny to me. Ariana Grande, her acting I never love, but which worries me for Wicked. But that original song, like push her for best original song, because that fucking song, Just Look Up, was amazing, and I was losing it while she was singing it. I was laughing so hard. All in all, I did enjoy it. It was fun. It just didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do at the end. I do think that it can be interpreted in a few different ways. I actually was thinking about it through the lens of COVID the entire time, not even climate change.
Yeah.
But climate change, I think, is definitely at play there too. Leonardo DiCaprio is great in it. Everyone's really good in it. That's the thing. Like
there's no weak points. Like there's no when it comes to the performances, it's unbelievable how there weren't any. There were some weak written characters. I wanted more for Melanie Linsky, but I mean, you can't fit it all in there. But I mean, if you're gonna try to make a human character, the other one that I really wish there was more of was Rob Clark, which that really did bum me out that there wasn't more there. But once again, it's tough to fit everything in, I guess. But that was the tricky thing. I really wish Adam McKay would chill with the directing sometimes. His little like quick edits to like grasshoppers and then crying babies, and then it's like I know what he's doing. He's like, it's all life, and you know, but it's stop that.
And that was overkill near the end. Like there was like
so
one
bad.
whole sequence. There's another line in it. Timothy Chalamet, we forgot to mention, is in this, and he's having a blast.
Timothy Chalamet is in this fucking movie.
Yeah, and at one point he goes, "I fucking love fingerling potatoes." And I also lost it during that as well. All in all, I just had a good time with it. I thought it was fun. But like I said, it could have been a little bit better. I don't know. I'm trying to see. I sent you another thing. And spoiler alert for anyone watching, Chris Evans pops up again in another cameo. And I had to text you to confirm that was him. He's having quite the cameo year. And it's absolutely hilarious to me.
I will say, I was on the, I should mention this, I should plug this. I was on the Nomcast pod. I believe it's getting released soon, going over this movie. And Andrew, I believe, is the host of that. And he told me that Chris Evans was originally going to play Mark Rylance's role, which I'm now just going to think about that for the rest of my life. Yeah, that just I mean, I kind of like it. I like he could do something very interesting. He could have some fun with it. I mean, the problem is I just love what Rylance did because he just scared the shit out of me. But
I don't know that I would have liked Chris Evans in that role.
It's tough because you're just seeing like I think it's what you're doing. The same thing I'm doing is imagining Captain America. He'd probably go a little bit nuts with it. Like he would, hairstyle different, makeup different.
It also probably would have been more of a Mark Zuckerberg angle than than like the older angle, which I think worked in terms of like the point or the theme of like the older people that are in control destroying society. Also, the after credit scene's great.
Wait, what?
There's a mid credit scene.
Oh, damn it. I knew there was going to be, and I left. Why do I always do that?
And Kate Blanchett's great. Sorry.
She is actually really quite good in that. Yeah, she sort of disappears in her role. I forgot the other Jonah Hill line, and then we should move on because otherwise we're turning into Chris Farley saying, "Remember when?" But Jonah Hill when the launch is going off, and he's like, "Oh, the Molly's just about to kick in."
There's a lot of great lines in this. I also didn't realize that was Michael Chiklis in the movie. And then like, what's it called? The one DJ Cello is Kid Cudi or Kid Cutie, whatever his name is. It was just it's fun. It's a fun movie. Doesn't knock it out of the park the way I wanted it to, but there's also some other jokes from Ron Perlman that were absolutely hilarious that I will not repeat on here, but
it was a different time.
It was a different was a different time. It was so funny, but really a great mirror up to our society today, which is both a good thing and a bad thing.
I got another one. Yeah. This one will be a little bit quicker, I think, because it was a little bit uninteresting. But Swan Song. It is the one we did the little bit on in the beginning. And this was where Mahershala Ali, Mahershala Ali finds out he is dying and he doesn't want to upset his family. So he goes to this little clone reservation place, makes a clone of himself. They're going to upload all the memories completely. And then he's just going to quickly get replaced by the clone. And so no issues whatsoever. Now, some people could say, wow, this is going to get really dark or really it's obviously dark, but it's going to get really bad. Like the clone turns into a murderous monster or something like that, which it started to allude that something like that would happen. There was some sort of unsettling situation, but it peaks in that third act and then drops and then nothing happens. And there's this moment where I just sort of feel let down and, everything just sort of goes on. And I'm a little bit annoyed by don't take me on that emotional roller coaster if you're just going to leave me at the top and, have the fire department come and get me, because I just was really sort of reeling from something. And so this ending just doesn't work. Now, Mahershala Ali is probably one of the greatest actors we have working today. And in this movie, there are two Mahershala Alis interacting with each other, sometimes arguing with each other, sometimes comparing each other. They are different, even though they're playing the same character, they're in different situations. So they're playing different situations. This is unbelievably challenging, and he nails it in the most subtle of fashions. He's just so good. It's worth it just to see Mahershala Ali's performance, and it is just that good. I can't get over how good of an actor he is. The rest of the cast is interesting. Naomi Harris is in this as his wife. Very good. Underwritten character, but it's very good. The rest of the characters are underwritten, including Awkwafina's character. She's another patient there. And then a favorite of Joe's, Glenn Close.
God. Does she have a wig on again?
She is in this movie for 5 minutes as the doctor. It's her agent sucks. I don't know what's wrong with her agent, but I mean, she's fine. It's just that once again, the other characters in this, this is the Mahershala show. Nobody else matters in this. And you know what? Hey, he's the best actor. He's the best performance there too. So you got to give it up for him, but he is just unbelievably good. This is on Apple TV Plus. Definitely give it a watch.
I thought you were going to say Vanessa Kirby, and I was like, oh.
No, the sarcastic favorite.
God, that wig is terrible. Anyway, let's move. Well, first off, I want to quickly ask you how you're feeling about Hawkeye heading into the finale tomorrow.
Well, I don't want to say a Spider-Man spoiler, but there's an ultimate galaxy brain theory going on. Quick 30 seconds.
Okay.
Spoiler. People are saying Spider-Man might be in the last Hawkeye.
I know, but listen, this is the whole thing. Why the fuck are we doing this again? It's like we can't have nice things. This show has already delivered on Yelena Belova and Kingpin, and now we're like, what if Spider-Man shows up? Because we can't just be happy with what the fuck they give us.
But it's Christmas, Joe. Both of them are Christmas.
I will say, I did watch a clip of the final scene where he's flipping through New York and stuff, and when he passes the tree, I was like, oh, well.
There's also a Rogers billboard somewhere. So
there is a Rogers billboard. That's true.
So but I also think that would be the dumbest thing to ever occur. All right, stop the 30-second spoiler.
I'm loving it. I'm excited for the finale tomorrow. I think it's been really well constructed all along.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the macaroni and cheese scene with the hot sauce. That was the latest episode, correct? Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
Are
you talking about where we got this fantastic scene?
Oh, yeah. I love that you have this saved immediately. Brilliant. Truly great.
Sorry, I'm cutting you off a lot.
It's fine. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Even more so there that they apparently ran with that, and a lot of it was improvised. That whole scene. So
it makes sense because it seems like these two are comfortable with their characters. They understand them, but it's finally one of them gets put on the back of the other. Like these are the two comic reliefs of their former properties, like, or not former, but like, Hawkeye, like Haley Steinfeld's Hawkeye's property. Pugh is the comic relief of Black Widow. And so we look at, both of these two, and both of them kind of have to be serious, but which one is going to sort of blink first in terms of who has the upper hand, all of that kind of situation.
Blinking?
Blinking or giving hot sauce or making sure hot sauce goes on the macaroni and cheese. But that was just like a masterclass in both writing and performing, and truly just like really great stuff. And so, they got to wrap everything up in, this episode. And, whenever I say that, it either doesn't work or it works. Captain America, I don't think it really worked too well, but I think it did work very well in Loki. So, I mean, it could work.
I'll say that with this one, I think the way that they have structured the entire series, again, it's only 6 episodes, but they didn't reach too far wide. Like they've told a very well contained story in the time that they have, by also branching out a little bit, of course, introducing Elena, and of course bringing Kate Bishop on as a big addition to the MCU, introducing Kingpin, reintroducing Kingpin, which brings in the Daredevil property. Like they've done a lot, and Echo, and they brought in Echo, who's going to have her own show. They've done a lot, and I'm actually most confident in going into this finale compared to other finales where I was like, oh, are they going to stick the landing? I think they will here. I'm pretty pumped for it. I really enjoyed Hawkeye much more than I thought I would.
Truly, at this point, even if they don't stick the landing, I'm still going to enjoy myself and say this was a pretty solid thing. Maybe just it stumbled at the end, but this was solid. It really was.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. All right, let's dive into the top stories of the week, because we've been talking about what we've been watching for a while and our thoughts on everything, which everyone wants to hear. But Sean, let's touch real quick on the Oscar shortlist that were revealed today. And there is an interesting piece of news that comes out of that.
So I will say that, I looked at most of the shortlists that came out, and for those of you that don't cover the Oscars that crazy, there's the Oscar nominations, but before that, there are the Oscar shortlists for some of the categories, not for all of them, not really for the major ones, but for best documentary, for best international feature, and then some of the technicals like best sound and best production design. I believe it's on there. I'm not sure, but therefore now, if you're not on that short list, you're out. That's the narrowing down. They voted on a short list by December 15th, and now these are going to be the ones they really vote for. And, then those are going to be the nominees. And then finally they vote for a winner. Seems like a waste of time. How about you just friggin' do? But anyway, they love doing the short list. It's a big deal for them. But anyway, most of them are pretty standard. The documentaries are all the ones that still belong. The one Edgar Wright's Sparks Brothers is not on the documentary slot. Also, Edgar Wright's Sparks Brothers shouldn't be on the documentary slot. It was a pretty rough doc. But the other one that might be the most surprising one, of all for me, is French's Mustard. France's submission of Titan. Titan is a crazy movie. Titan is an absolutely nutty movie. It is insane. It's just absolutely very, very unorthodox. And it was very shocking that France decided to submit Titan as their film for Best International Feature. And at this point, it did not make the short list. Now, that could be because people just heard that Titan was nuts. People could have seen Titan and said, I'm not voting for that because that is nuts. Truly, I don't exactly know what it possibly could have been. But at this point, right now, France will not be Titan is no longer in contention to be in a nomination for the international film with Titan, which I think is quite a shame. I think the movie is very, very good. It is also very, very weird. So anyone that wants to say it's weird, can join up with that. I fully understand, but there's something there that I truly do love about it, and it would have been nice to see it at least grace the nominations, possibly.
I'm just stuck over here thinking Titan versus Titan.
Wait, it is officially Titan.
I thought it was Titani.
Oh, geez.
I don't know, but whatever.
It was officially Titan. Trust me, I was like, I was always Titan with it, but it is Titan because like there is the clip at the very like beginning, and they say Titan, like someone says Titan, and it means Titan. I will say that one of the ones instead, Lamb got in there.
I can't.
The battle of the weird international films for you. There we go.
I am most surprised. Well, not surprised, but I was really hoping that the documentary "Not Going Quietly" about Adi Barkan would make it onto the short list. I thought it was making a really good push for it, but sadly did not. I saw a lot of documentaries this year that I really enjoyed, but didn't get as much widespread acclaim as I think, or at least attention as is necessary. So it's unfortunate.
Documentaries are so tough, and that category is kind of a nightmare at times. I mean, like I'm like right now stumping for Summer of Soul, and it got into the short list, but it's the front runner, which means it's not going to get nominated, and it'll be thrown into the sun, like because they just don't know how to like it's like, I don't get it, but yeah, documentaries are weird, and also because like documentaries are the smallest scale, so many fly under the radar, which is such a shame.
Speaking of weird, Matthew Vaughn, who does some weird movies, and of course is going to be bringing us Batman next year, as well as the King's Man comes out tomorrow. Talk about a weird movie, but I really enjoyed it. Did I talk about that yet? Am I allowed to? Yeah, I'm allowed to.
Yeah, the last time we were on, you could not talk about it. Like you were a day away from the embargo. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's really crazy and it takes some turns, but I think it was really a lot of fun. But it's just very different than what you expect. So I mean, I'm going to bring it up later. Well, I guess that'll be the next pod for spoiler alert that we're recording tonight. I can't wait. I want to see a follow up from it. Even a follow up to the prequel. I want to see that because I think there's a lot they could do with it. But before he was diving into the Kingsman and all that stuff, he also was the director of Kick-Ass back in the day. This starred Aaron Taylor Johnson as well as Chloe Grace Moretz, Nicolas Cage as Big Daddy. It didn't do well at the box office, but it ended up becoming like a kind of cult classic type deal. And when he was recently doing his rounds promoting The Kingsman, he mentioned, quote unquote, "We've got a big reboot of Kick-Ass in 2 years." Big reboot, which has people going nuts online trying to figure out what he means by that. But he went on to say this, quote, "It's so fucking nuts and I can't talk about it, but we've got that ready to go. All the rights revert back in 2 years, and then we're going to reboot it where people will be like, he is insane."
He is just such a fascinating human, I guess. I could say director, but human, because he'll do stuff like The Kingsman and Kick-Ass, which are these like incredibly fucked up, like crazy movies that then have sequels that are bad. Like just like even weirder, and then it's just like then after that he'll flip to, yes, I'm gonna do the Batman, and I will also be doing the Planet of the Apes movie, the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and I'm like, and those are like these like classic like thrillers and stuff like where they're like made. Not that Kick-Ass isn't well made, it is actually, but it is sort of, he has these two sides to him, and like it seems like he's starting to unleash that other side again for Kick-Ass.
Well, and then like he did X-Men First Class, and he also has Argyle coming up, which is like the big like spy mystery type thing. So there's a lot going on with him, but I wonder what Kick-Ass reboot looks like, and I think that's what everyone's questioning right now. Like there were 2 Kick-Ass movies, so like are they rebooting with the same people? Are they just trying to? I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't think so. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson has moved on. I mean, I don't know if it's the greener pastures or anything like that, but he's just like, I'm not doing this again. I think Chloe Grace Moretz is definitely not doing this again. Nicolas Cage will probably show up. But he'll be like, oh, wait, no, he was – was he killed in the first one? Spoiler to Kick-Ass.
I don't even remember. A little bit of spoiler with Aaron Taylor Johnson is he's in The Kingsman. So that's fun.
Really?
Yeah, won't tell you why.
Does he play Kick-Ass?
Yeah.
He just shows up as Kick-Ass.
Let's move on. So we mentioned at the beginning of this that COVID is starting to rage again, and whether or not these moves that we're about to mention have been influenced by COVID or not, there are some movies that are rescheduling themselves. Studios are rescheduling them. So Ethan Hawke's The Black Phone, a horror movie that was supposed to come out February 4th, is now pushed back to June 24th. Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre, which was I don't know what it's weird.
Is that the Guy Ritchie one?
The Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham one. It was supposed to come out January 21st. It's pushed to March 18th. And then there's a couple others. These aren't pushes, but we do know that The Last Train in New York, which is the Train to Busan remake, is going to release on April 21st, 2023. And then a really interesting move here, which I think is kind of cool and I'm pumped for. They were making a Blue Beetle movie for HBO Max, and that's now been shifted to a theatrical release in the summer of 2023. So I think that says a lot for the movie and how they see it. And it's pretty cool that a title or a character, I should say, that is not as well known is going to be given that sort of perch in the summer. I'm excited for that.
It's interesting that these went here because I remember reading these articles and thinking, yeah, these might just be because the films got delayed due to COVID delays. I don't know if this is them worried about theater purchases. I think this is a lot of production delays that could have happened because they're dramatic.
Yeah, but like Black Phone, they've already been promoting. It's done.
Is it done? Is Black Phone done?
Black Phone's done.
I guess they had the trailer for it. You're right. I don't know if there was.
They've been. I think I don't. Did someone see it? I can't remember if someone saw it somewhere or whatnot.
Has anyone seen Black Phone?
I'm pretty sure I read something about someone seeing it. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I'm worried that we are now moving into another situation where some people are going to get cold feet. The biggest release in January, arguably, is Scream on January 14th. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Well, they have to do that quick. They have to move that quick now.
Well, and the biggest worry is going to be the first 2 weeks after Christmas.
Yeah.
And New Year's.
I didn't even think of that. I forgot Scream is coming out in January. Why are they doing that? There's no reason to do that.
They announced that years ago.
Yeah, that's silly though. I mean, they're a movie that's about movies, and they should know, all the characters there are just probably I would love all the characters to kind of look around the seats and just be like, oh yeah, it's January. One of the rules to surviving a horror movie is don't release it in frickin' January.
I would love that. That would be absolutely amazing.
Worth the cost of admission of the two of us in the theater alone.
1,000%. Let's move on to our next story. John Ralphio has been cast in Renfield. And this is really exciting to me. And I think that we need to revisit who John Ralphio is a little bit. So if you're not familiar with the genius that is John Ralphio, he is a character from Parks and Recreation. And we need to listen to a little bit of what he brings to the table here. He's, of course, the voice of Sonic.
I've done it. I found your assistant, and he's dope. His name is Jean Ralphio. Jean Ralphio!
Big T! Mr. Swan, two things. One, it is an absolute honor to meet you. Two, who is that hot intern chick out there? Because honestly, damn!
Take a seat.
Right. Here we go.
So,
I want this.
Him and Donna.
I definitely want this. Let's seal this devil's three-way right here, right now. Step one. We buy into this club. Step 2, we roll over to the club, either in your Mercedes-Benz or my pre-owned actor Legend. Step 3, I dagger you on the dance floor. Just bounce, bounce.
Bounce.
What do you say, sexy?
I'm out.
I can't find it here, but he is a great character from the show. There's a scene where he and his sister are doing the whole don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. And it's one of the funniest scenes in a show ever.
He is hysterical the whole way through. I actually just always think about him and Andrew Garfield in such a similarity. It's kind of scary sometimes. But I will say he is extremely funny, very funny. I now have no idea what this movie is though. because like they started with Nicholas Hoult as Renfield, and I was like, oh, cool, a serious drama about Renfield and like that character and stuff. Nicholas Hoult can be funny, I guess. No, excuse me. Nicholas Hoult is extremely funny on The Great, the Hulu show, where he plays Peter the Great. It's absolutely like hysterical. So he can be like this dark humor funny. We got Nicolas Cage, who just is funny, like just in general is funny. Awkwafina is also cast in this comedy all the time. And now we have Ben Schwartz. So I think this has now become more of a comedy than anything else. And I'm just curious. I want to get my hands on this script somehow and just know for sure what this is.
Yeah, I think I saw it described as a horror comedy somewhere, and I just don't know what exactly that means. It's going to be fascinating, and there's no confirmation on what role he's playing. But hey, all for it. I mean, that cast is fun. There's some good actors involved in that. So Ben Schwartz, good for him, doing a lot of weird stuff, but
getting out there.
I'm into it. All right, next story that we want to touch on is, oh my gosh, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong.
No, you got it. Come on.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Okay, that. He's adapting Rendezvous with that's
Rendezvous.
Rendezvous with Rama, which is a sci-fi novel. He's sticking in the sci-fi world, which is really interesting with him. The story is set in the 2130s and tells of a spaceship that enters the solar system from the perspective of the humans who intercept it. Morgan Freeman and his company originally held the rights, which is my favorite part of this story. So he's on board as a producer. And there's no further details available, but it's interesting that Denis is setting up his future, even though Dune 2, Part 2, is on the way.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I'm sort of bummed out by this a little bit because it's like Denis Villeneuve is a great director, but just chill with the sci-fi, bro. Like it's like one of these. Yeah, let's look at what I think might be his best movie, in my opinion, Prisoners. All right. Like, I mean, it's so good. And, it's just something where he can explore his talents in a different way. Now, he loves going into sci-fi. And guess what? His sci-fi movies are really good. So cool. I'm going to see this opening night and like be excited as I was for Dune. But, oh, man, it's one of those things where it's like, he's doing this again. Okay, he's doing this again. Okay, but I'm excited for it. I'm curious to see the stuff. It'll be another book I don't have to read, so that'll be good. That's what I'm excited about.
I would like to see him do something else. I think that's kind of like what he's a good actor. Good director, but there's only so much you can do with sci-fi before you start bleeding your movies together. I guess is the way I would put that. So I don't know. All right, last story we want to touch on tonight is about Doctor Strange 2, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Spoiler, but kind of not if you live in the world of the internet and you've seen and or have heard of people that have seen Spider-Man No Way Home. The after credit scene is actually the first look at Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which honestly was a little underwhelming to me.
I agree, but also I love that they did that instead of some sort of like after credit scene. Like do a trailer to the next thing that still isn't on YouTube, which how? I mean, like officially release that bitch.
They just wanted a way to say Doctor Strange will return. Because that's like their new thing, like the 10 Rings will return, the Eternals will return. So what we reported on a while ago, about a month ago, was that even after the film had wrapped, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that is, they were heading back for significant reshoots that were scheduled to go until just around this time, right around the holiday, until the end of the year. And it looks like they're wrapping up, according to the Hollywood Reporter. And the word that they're bringing is that the intent of the reshoots had everything to do with the reception of Spider-Man No Way Home. What I'm assuming that means is that they're talking about like early screenings and test screenings and stuff that they did, as well as how the Marvel brass were responding to it. But they wanted to have, quote unquote, more fun with the universe, or the multiverse, I should say. And that they also referenced Loki as being a reason, like having different characters, different variants appear on screen. And so this apparently had to do with adding in more big cameos and character introductions to the sequel. Character introductions is the interesting one to me, but cameos, I wonder if we're going to see some bleed over. I saw a report that said something about Reed Richards from the original Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom potentially, Magneto. I was expecting potentially to see some of them in Spider-Man. I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one of them for it to happen in Multiverse of Madness, like I want to see fucking madness, like go crazy. The title says it. That's kind of why I didn't like the preview. I thought it was pretty straightforward and not like, I'm like, your title is the Multiverse of Madness, and you just gave me a really short, underwhelming preview.
You weren't Wanda in that apple orchard wasn't really there for you. Like,
well, I will say someone posted this on TikTok maybe because that's where I live my life now. But someone brought up the point that like when Wanda was in the original series, she was the original movies, she was so underwhelming. But after WandaVision now, everyone was freaking the fuck out when she showed up on screen in that after credit. And I think that's really cool that they were able to do that. Marvel's really good about making you care about characters. I would argue that not to Wanda's level, but we're going to get that with Hawkeye now moving forward, should he appear in other stuff, because I think they've done a good job handling him in this series. Long story short, it sounds like they're pumping this full with cameos and stuff. So I always get nervous with reshoots when they go back and try to add in additional characters because I wonder how that alters the actual movie and stuff. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, sometimes you got to worry about the fan service. Like, you know, I mean, we're not in the spoiler territory right now with the Spider-Man thing, but like I said there, you know, fan service was there. Some stuff was just little itty bitty fan service, a fun little thing, and then they jumped it out and it was like, hey, that was cool. And then some stuff was, you know, also fan service, but it served like the entire like movie, and that's, you know, you want that. So if you're just going to get a bunch of little itty bitty fan services throughout the whole thing, that starts to get a little saturated. And that's what I'm worried about.
It also, I mean, going back to Spider-Man a little bit, it looked like they pulled themselves back from doing a little bit too. Mm-hmm. If you think about the end where they were breaking open, like the multiverse was like breaking through, there were a couple outlines of characters. One that people are talking about a lot is potentially Kraven the Hunter, which ironically we just talked about him, but Aaron Taylor Johnson's playing Kraven the Hunter. And Kraven originally was going to be the villain of the third movie if they didn't go the multiverse route. So it feels like they had the potential to do other things, but I think they smartly saw that they had enough with what they had already done, and were like, let's hold off.
Yeah, I mean, I saw just like you know, this will be the second Ghost reference of the podcast, but it like looked like the people in heaven from Ghosts that were just like there. That's all I got. I got like people there. People were like, I saw Kraven the Hunter. I'm like, did you? Like, I couldn't see shit.
You in Danger Girl.
There it is.
It's one of my favorite lines. It's one of my favorite memes. All right. Before we wrap up for the evening, I want to dive into Rants and Raves. I'm going to start off here with Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield is having quite the year, and has had quite the year, I should say. And I'm really here for it because I think that he really flexed his chops when he was in the Social Network back in the day, and has I think he's only gotten better as an actor. I don't know that he's always been in the best projects. But this past year, we have seen him in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Tick, Tick, Boom was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. His part in Spider-Man No Way Home was great. Like I said, during the spoiler piece, which if you listen this far, whatever.
I was going to stop you, and then I was like, let's let it happen.
Whatever. In the spoiler piece, I think they did a really nice job with his role. I'm really glad to see that he's flexing his chops in different ways. I mean, The Eyes of Tammy Faye was one where he played a real figure, and he had to kind of embody that character. Some people loved it. Some people did not. I think he did a fine job with it. I think he was overshadowed by Jessica Chastain in her role. But that's kind of that partnership anyway, or that couple anyway. Tick, Tick, Boom was the biggest surprise. His singing, his embodiment of real life Jonathan Larson. Spider-Man No Way Home, revisiting his superhero days. I just really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to see what he has coming next. What is driving me absolutely fucking bonkers is there is now a push to have the Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Oh yeah, made. I've heard of this.
And listen, I'm all for whatever. If they find a way to do it and they want to like give him another movie, I think that would be cool. I don't know. I worry about what that looks like if they're like doing too much and capitalizing on the wrong things. Maybe just let like Sleeping Dogs lie here. Like you have them come back and do their swan song. It's all good. But the part that really gets me is people comparing it to the Snyder Cut. and they're like, we're going to push this, like people push the Snyder Cut. It's the same thing. It is not the same thing. The Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, was 90% fucking finished, 95% finished. It only didn't go forward, well, for two reasons. One, there was studio interference and issues, and two, the director had a major life event, tragedy in his life that he had to deal with. When the push continued to come to have the Snyder Cut released, it was a movie that only needed a little tinkering to get over the finish line. It was largely shot, and it was mainly about preserving and delivering on the original artistic vision of the director. The Amazing Spider-Man 3, while that could be a cool, push for it. I'm all about fans pushing for what they want, right? That's what we got to do in this world. You push, you push, you push. It is not the same thing as the Snyder Cut. So let's not put that in that same arena, because The Amazing Spider-Man 3 is not a movie that exists. It is not a movie that even has a script or anything. I'm sure there's ideas out there about where they would go, and I'm sure that they've already thought about like what they could do with Andrew Garfield if he wanted to come back. But it's just, we got to stop comparing everything back to the Snyder Cut now when fans, good or bad, are pushing for something, because it was a very significant situation and specific situation that doesn't carry over to pushing for something that you like.
I wholeheartedly agree. I could add, but I'd just be repeating. So I'm going to go over my rant. I didn't write it down here, but it happened during Spider-Man No Way Home. First of all, one thing, I was expecting that I would hate like all the applause breaks and stuff like that for the stuff that everyone already expected. Loved that, adored it beyond all belief, and I just want that to happen for the rest of my life. I want like people applause breaking everywhere. If people are mad about that, I can't deal, because it's just so great. It's lovely. It's like a warm blanket, and it's perfect. But the lovely lady that was 2 seats away from me, she had her phone out and she was texting, and here's the thing. People have this idea that, oh, wait, I'm texting. I'm not on the phone. I'm not listening to music. I'm not like, no. That's a gigantic flashlight, even at the lowest, that is just like glowing in every single way you can imagine. Especially, like, it's annoying me a lot, but the people above in the rows, it's annoying them even worse. They can literally see that spot right there while they are trying to focus on the entire screen. Texting is still bad. It is still bad. All of it's bad. Turn the phone off. Here's the reason why you should turn the phone off. It's not just so you get tempted to look at your phone. Like I'm addicted to my phone horribly. I will look at my phone if it's off and stuff like that. Turn it off because of that. But also, you're in a movie theater. You have the chance to just be away from everything. Just from everything for the next 2 hours or so. And that's great, because everything else in this world sucks. All right. The movie in front of you is the only good thing sometimes. And so what you really want to remember is just stay with the movie there. Get away from reality. Put the phone away, and just really turn it off and really go away. Now, if you're worried about people trying to reach you, what you do is what I do. I do it with Sam. I say, movie starting, love you. And then the phone goes off before she can say, you're in a damn movie. I told you to. And then boom, no, it's off. You can't do it anymore. It's out. And so there we go. Just no cell phones in movies.
Where are the staff of these theaters? Because I keep seeing all these like leaks on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram of scenes from Spider-Man, and like that is fucking illegal. You're not supposed to do that.
The problem is they are a third of our age. And so they do not have the ability to know confrontation. They don't. I mean, I don't have the ability to know confrontation, and I'm an older person. So, these should be more like security people handling this. And until they build a damn Alamo draft house somewhere in Fairfield, Connecticut, which, I don't know if that's the next big location, but it would be great if it was.
Bowtie Cinema isn't doing it for you?
Hey, Bowtie is lovely, but I would love an Alamo that would just kick people out for even coming close to texting.
Drives me insane. All right, well, bunch of stuff coming out this week, and to focus on first is Being the Ricardos, which hit Amazon Prime Video today. The Kingsman hits theaters. The Matrix Resurrections hits theaters and HBO Max. Funny thing is, did you see the clip or the interview with Keanu Reeves where they're like, what do you think about people watching it on streaming? And he's like, if you got to stream it, stream it. The most chill thing ever.
What a lord right there. It's just like, yeah, dude, just be that.
A Journal for Jordan hits Amazon Prime Video. Don't Look Up hits Netflix. Sing 2 hits theaters. The Tender Bar hits theaters. Parallel Mothers hits limited theaters. And Encanto is going to Disney Plus, I think for like subscribers, not for Disney Premier Plus. So that's kind of wild so quickly.
Oh, that is quick. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Eternals is January 12th. Not as quick, but that's hitting too. So good work with Disney Plus there, recognizing that there's some, I think, money to be made. But one announcement I would like to make is that the Golden Guy Awards are underway. And we've already opened nominations for some special individuals in the back to get things rolling. And then nominations are going to be rolling out likely tomorrow. I'm going to move it up a little bit just to get the nominations process started. And there's a lot of great categories. So I'm very excited for that. Sean, what do you have going on next week that we should tell you to have a good time with?
I am going on my mini moon next week. It's going to be the mini honeymoon. We're going to Vermont, Stowe, Vermont. So we'll be very, very near Canada. So very safe there. And you know, I don't know what that meant. But brewery tours, maybe some skiing, snowshoeing, carriage rides. We're doing all the good winter activities.
That's awesome. Well, have a good time with that. While you're gone, we will be publishing our end-of-year holiday mailbag wrap-up episode. And then we will be back in the new year with all the fun that you've come to expect from the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. Sean, ta-ta.
See ya.
As always, thanks for listening. You can follow both Joe and Sean on Instagram at Guy at the Movies and Math Teacher Movies. New episodes of the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean are available every Wednesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, be on the lookout for special spoiler pods, where we dive deep into the latest film releases. If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.